Welcome to another episode of the Burg Podcast, where we talk about all things Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Also known as the Hub City or just the Burg, Hattiesburg is a bustling town in southern Mississippi. It's an educational, cultural, business, and medical hub for the region, and we're pleased to share stories from our community. On today's episode of the Burg Podcast, we'll focus on different ways a few people have grown and changed throughout their lives. To kick off this episode, Madison Calkins sat down with Vicki Taylor to discuss the Hattiesburg Pocket Museum.
I'm Madison Calkins for the Burg Podcast. Today I'm interviewing Vicki Taylor. My guest, Vicki, is the creator of the Hattiesburg Pocket Museum, an attraction of the Hattiesburg Convention Commission. Made up of exhibits that are ever-changing, the Hattiesburg Pocket Museum is considered Mississippi's tiniest museum. So, Vicki, let's start at the very beginning. Did you grow up here in Hattiesburg?
I did not. I actually was born and raised in Omaha, Nebraska. My husband is from Petal, and we met in Texas. We actually traveled to Los Angeles, lived there for 2 years, then moved to Puerto Rico for a great job in 2 years, went then to Miami, Florida for 2 years, and then he found out about a tourism job here in Hattiesburg, and so we moved back here. And I'd like to think that I don't have a Southern accent, even though I've been here 30 years, but I'm not sure. My family says I do. So,
for those listeners who have never visited the Pocket Museum, how would you best describe it and explain what it is?
Although it is a museum, I think it's more interactive art and a seek and find game. It really encompasses, for me, it's everything that I've loved on every single vacation or things that I do, all in one little alley.
Where did the idea of the Hattiesburg Pocket Museum come from? Was it inspired from something else?
It actually was. In late 2019, our family took a trip to Switzerland and Europe. And how we travel is we do not make one single reservation. We fly into a location. We were going to be there for 10 days. We did not make a single reservation anywhere. And then we started driving. And then we tried to find all the weirdest stuff that no one else thinks to find. And so we drove around and we had Atlas Obscura, which is a magazine. It's also a website that tells you about weird little things in towns. And we went around Europe trying to find those things. When we were in Basel, I think that's how to pronounce it, Switzerland, we were eating dinner one night and we noticed that there was a little translated, it is Pants Pocket Museum. And it's a lady's doorway in an alley, the typical, what you think of a European alley. And it was a window. And they said it was a museum. And we're like, okay, after dinner, we're going to find it. Would not give too much of directions. And so we spent probably 45 minutes walking the streets trying to find it. And it was in this dark alley, and it was this little window, and we came upon it, and it was, the exhibit that month was mice, tiny mice. And it was the feeling of finding that night. It was just magical. It was wonderful to walk around and to suddenly find this little museum. So we kept that in our head because if you'll remember then, probably 4 months later, guess what? COVID hit. And the zoo closed down, everything closed down. And Rick and I would go to the zoo and we would be driving home to Petal through downtown. And we were just like, there's no one here. There is not one single soul downtown. There's nothing. And it started to bother us, like, where is everyone? And so Rick had, the Sanger is right there. He said, you know what we should do? We should make that one of those boarded up windows into a museum, just like that museum we saw. He said, let's not tell anyone and let's not advertise it. Let's just do it. And so I think it was August. He got the staff to put in the window. The first exhibit was the pocket knives from Switzerland that we collected. I think there was 100 of them. At the time, I was very mad that he bought 100 Swiss Army knives. But then we put them in and then did not say anything. And we waited maybe a month, and then we put a billboard up, the Convention Commission did, that said, can you find it, the Hattiesburg Pocket Museum? That's it. And it got people talking, like, where is it? And eventually people started finding out about it and coming. And then I think it was September or October that the Washington Post got wind of it and listed it as one of the 6 best museums to open during 2020. And then after that, everyone knew where it was. We never really technically say still what the address is, but now it's on, Google, people can find it. And 3 years later, 3.5 years later, people have found it. So that's where the inspiration came from.
So you mentioned you started off with the window first. Are there
Mhm.
any other pieces of the Pocket Museum that were the initial, I guess, beginnings of it?
The window was it for probably a couple months. And then we started thinking, maybe it was about a month, we should put like miniature people out here. I don't know where that came from. I cannot remember, but we're like, wouldn't it be cool if we started doing miniature people? And so we bought, they're actually train figures, and we bought it, we put them out. And that truly, even though we've had probably 40 exhibits now in the window, the draw is those tiny people. We know it. And then we started doing things with them, and people to, give a challenge to try to find certain things. And the little people got to be such a huge thing. We're like, now we can't not do this. And then eventually, we did the pocket watch. We did the little Viewmaster, the pocket theater, and now the pocket art gallery. So we added to it. And then plus all the interactive art, Lissa Ortego's, especially the 3D Abbey Road, hundreds of pictures taken on that a week. It's amazing.
How do you feel the Hattiesburg Pocket Museum has impacted the city of Hattiesburg? I know you mentioned COVID, so even since then, how do you feel it's impacted?
I think two ways. Obviously on the weekends downtown, we play off of Lucky Rabbit, and we play off the other businesses. And Lucky Rabbit's only open Saturday and Sunday, but we'll see a constant trail, people going from us to them. And so I think it's brought people downtown. But I noticed, especially last summer, I would be driving in the summer during the week through downtown, and I would see families running across the street, and that part made me so happy. All of a sudden, it brought life to downtown during the week, and I was there a lot during the week, and I would talk to people, and they would stop through on their way to Florida or on the way to the beach. But the other thing is because we involve so many different artists around Hattiesburg, like the Hum City Crafters when they yarn bombed us, and then Abby Allen, she does Center Stage, and we've involved so many and different artists. I think it's brought all of the arts groups closer together. I mean, I would never have met these people, amazing artists, without the Pocket Museum, and I think that it's introduced them to each other too, which I think is the best part, really.
So do you have a favorite art piece at the Pocket Museum, or can you not pick?
My favorite art piece, I guess I'm a little biased with Abbey Road. Yesterday we had a field trip of maybe 50 kids, and we had one Tuesday of 50 kids. That's another thing, field trips down there all the time. But when I tell them to stand on Abbey Road, and I'll take their picture, and I do that several times a week, and then I take the picture, and then I show them what it looks like. The amazement, every single time, they can't see it until you see it in your phone. They're so amazed, and that part makes me so happy. And so I love every single piece, obviously, but that one gives me such bang for my buck. I can just impress people right away, and I just love Abbey Road.
So do you mind sharing with us a couple of your favorite exhibits?
Yeah, like I said, we've had, I think, about 40 or 41 now. And it's kind of like, when you ask your mom who's the favorite child.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
There's not a single one I didn't like, or the ones that have educational aspects to it, I love. I have loved working with. We did 4 museums last year that brought sent their items to us. I have loved that, but probably some of my favorites were the ones that we did really early on, when it was just Rick and I in there, and we thought we were just entertaining ourselves. And I think maybe, the tools of the trade from a serial killer, not that that's my favorite, but we had so much fun with that because we thought it was so amusing. And we didn't know if anyone would ever come and see it. So I guess the ones early on, I guess, are close to my heart, just because it was just Rick and I, and we were just having a good time and enjoying it, back in the Pocket Museum.
So this kind of leads into my next question, which was going to be, what has been the best part of establishing the Pocket Museum, which you have touched on a little bit, but also what's been the most difficult part of this journey?
You would think the most difficult part, according to our social media, would be people stealing stuff and breaking stuff. but that really isn't it. I mean, things can be replaced. It does annoy me, but I would say I've got a million ideas in my head and not $1 million to do it with. I think the funding, we are a free museum. We don't get anything from it. When we do, even like last week, we did the Candy Palooza. It costs us, and there's my ideas are $1 million ideas, and I want to do all of this stuff. I want to have tons of things I want to do, but we are limited by our funding, obviously.
So what are the future plans and dreams for the Pocket Museum? Can you share any of those with us?
I have, one thing I can share is above the Pocket Museum, you can see there's a second level to that building. There's nothing in it really. It's no power, anything like that. We got a grant from Mississippi Arts Commission, and this year will be redoing that entire second story. So the Sanger can use it. It's going to be in a speakeasy type fashion. The Sanger is going to use it, and then we get to use it. Like, let's say I have an artist that does an exhibit, and people want to learn how to do their art. We're going to do, now we have an indoor place that we can do it. So there's that. And Lissa Ortego we got two kind of cool things coming up. If you have a pet, we got a little inspiration from a place in North Carolina. She is doing a rainbow bridge for us. If you have a pet that's passed and you have a collar, if you kept a collar, you can bring your collar to the rainbow bridge and you can attach it onto the rainbow bridge. That's coming within the next few months.
Wow. Well, you heard it here first, folks. Don't forget that. That is so exciting, and I can't wait to see all of those new additions. That sounds so amazing. So thank you so much for talking with us today. I truly appreciate it. I'm Madison Calkins for the Burg Podcast.
Next, let's hear from Amari Anderson with her essay reflecting her personal growth throughout the years.
Let me tell you a coming-of-age story. Everyone's is a little different, but here's a glimpse of mine. Once upon a time, in a small town nestled amidst rolling hills and whispering trees, lived a young soul named Amari Anderson. In the beginning, Amari's world revolved around the loving embrace of my parents. They were my everything, my pillars of strength, guidance, just everything. Every step I took, every decision I made was with their guidance and support. As a child, I was sheltered and depended on my parents for everything. My responsibilities were few, and my worries were even fewer. The world seemed like a vast, open playground, where the only obstacles were scraped knees and lost toys. But as the days turned into years and the years turned into adolescence, a yearning for independence began to awaken within me. The first taste of freedom arrived when I ventured away from my childhood home to pursue higher education. I enrolled in a junior college 3 hours away, a seemingly small step but a giant leap towards self-discovery. Suddenly, I found myself no longer within arm's reach of my parents, no longer shielded from the realities of life. It was here, in this new environment, that I began to cultivate the seeds of independence. In my time at the junior college, my independence gradually blossomed. I started making decisions on my own, navigating the complexities of academic life, and facing the challenges that came my way. Though I still had a safety net in the form of occasional visits and phone calls with my parents, I could feel the weight of responsibility slowly shifting onto my shoulders. Upon graduating from my community college, I stood tall, my youthful exuberance tinged with newfound maturity. Armed with a diploma and a hunger for knowledge, I made the bold choice to continue my education at the University of Southern Mississippi in Hattiesburg. The time had come for me to spread my wings and fly solo. With a mixture of excitement and nervousness, I embraced the challenge of living alone. I found a cozy place to call my own, a sanctuary where my dreams and aspirations could take root. The responsibilities that had once been shouldered by my parents now rested squarely on my capable shoulders. Bills, groceries, and the countless other tasks that come with adulthood became my companions. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and I thrived in my newfound independence. I discovered the joy of self-reliance, the satisfaction of conquering challenges on my own, Each day brought on new lessons and experiences, molding me into a resilient and self-assured individual. But life has a way of surprising us, of leading us down unexpected paths. And so, it was that my journey took a turn. As I made the adult decision to move in with my significant other, Austin. Together, we found solace and strength in each other's arms, leaning on one another for support and guidance as we navigated the complexities of adulthood. This newfound partnership, intertwined with responsibilities I had already come to embrace, provided me with fresh perspective on life. It taught me the beauties of compromise, the strength that can be found in vulnerability, and the importance of shared goals and dreams. As we continue to build a life together, I realized that my own personal growth and the growth of my relationship were closely linked. And so, dear listeners, we come to the present moment. Me, Amari Anderson, a once dependent child, has emerged as a beacon of independence and resilience. Through the journey of moving out on my own at the age of 20, I discovered the power of self-reliance, the beauty of shared responsibility, and the transformative nature of love. As I continue to pave my own path, I carry with me the lessons learned on this remarkable journey. With every step I take, I'm reminded of the strength that lies within me, the support that surrounds me, and the limitless possibilities that await. This story, my story, is continuously being written, mistakes continuously being made, decisions continuously being questioned. Every day I will face a new challenge, but only I can decide the outcome of those challenges. I hope this inspires you. Independence isn't being alone, but it's being able. This has been Amari Anderson for the Burg Podcast.
Lastly, 23-year-old Mallory Pittman was just named Hattiesburg's Outstanding Up-and-Comer. How did she do it? Anna Philpott has the report.
When Mallory Pittman came to Southern Miss 6 years ago, she began working as a server for Nelson Haskin Jr., a powerhouse restaurateur who has played a major role in transforming the downtown scene. Directly after graduation, Haskin hired Pittman to be the director of marketing for all 5 of his establishments, which we know as Front Street Eats. Since the beginning of the year, the Bogalusa native was accepted into the Leadership Pine Belt, was named in Signature Magazine's Top 20 Under 40, and named the Downtown Hattiesburg Association's Outstanding Up-and-Comer.
So I'm sitting there and I'm like, what did little old me do to get in a room full of people who have made such impacts in the Pine Belt? People are wanting to know me, wanting to know my story, and it gives me chill bumps just even thinking about it.
Pittman attributes much of her success to waiting tables and making vital connections through serving people because, as she said, everybody has to eat. When she is not managing 11 social media pages, she likes to read and train her German Shepherd. A hobby she's recently picked up is vlogging on Instagram for her personal account.
I mean, you'd think I'd be sick of it, which at times I was getting a really big burnout. Just turning on like a camera and like so showing the silly stuff that I do and say, being myself has really made me fall in love with social media again.
Pittman had this to say to those pursuing a career in marketing.
My biggest piece of advice is to just not say no. The accolades that I've gotten this year, like it's 20% talent, but 80% of it is knowing the people who are going to mention your name in a room you don't have access to yet.
Pittman says her ideas for the future include opening her own marketing company somewhere down the line, but she's perfectly content with where she is right now. This is Anna Philpott for the Burg Podcast.
Thank you for tuning in to the Burg Podcast. This podcast is totally produced by students in Dr. Dave Davies' MCJ 344 podcasting class in the School of Media and Communication at the University of Southern Mississippi. Producers for this episode are Madison Calkins, Sydney Stokes, Michaelan Williams, and Denari Washington. Music from Upbeat. See the link in our About page for more information. Cover artwork by Madison Calkins and Greta Graves.